Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Deraney, and I'm your host. Hey, Chris, it's good to see you, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Drew the Great. I'm excited to be here, brother.
This is awesome, man. I've been not stalking you, but I've been following you on social media and in our couple of discussions. And man, I am impressed. I mean, I know where you've come from and where you're going and where you are now, and I am just thrilled to have you here.
Dude, I'm excited to be here, man. I'm grateful that we've met.
So am I. I have a lot of people to thank for introducing us. So, we talked a little before about how life is not linear, and we all have gone through circuitous route to get to where we are. And I've heard parts and pieces of your story. Start where you want to start, your journey, and some defining moments that have helped you get to be who you are now, the essence of Chris Felton.
Yeah, I think the biggest turning point of my life was I was in the middle of the Great Recession. I'm $250,000 in credit card debt. I just got through a painful, expensive divorce. My kids are 7 and 4. I'm in Colorado. They live on the other side of the country in Atlanta with their mom. And I signed a stupid office lease of 6,000 square feet I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm on the lease.
Right.
I'm paying my ex-wife $5,200 at the beginning of every month, alimony, child support. So I'm standing in the kitchen talking to my second and last wife, Marlo, and
thank God
she walked into a financial crap show, Drew, that she was unaware of.
Right.
The one thing I had going for me was about 6 months before that, I handed all the financial control of our business and personal life over to her. Best financial decision I ever made. But basically, talking to her, because I'm out of options, because I have to pay my ex-wife that $5,200 the next day.
Oh boy.
And because I'm out of options, my wife is the only option. And she had a separate pool of money saved, her money. She had good money behaviors.
Right.
And she was smart enough to keep money away from a broke guy. And so and she had her eye, Drew, on a Nordstrom's business suit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, nope, you can't have that because I need your money. So I asked my wife for the money to pay my ex-wife.
Oh my God, there is so much in there, Chris.
Funny.
Wow.
But it's funny now.
What an you're an amazing guy. What an amazing woman you're with now. How did it get to that where she's, wow. I'm speechless, man. Well, tell me how this happened.
Anyway, so but I ask and it doesn't go over very well. And I turn my head for a second and I see this purse. Like, women's purses are like ginormous.
I know, they can fit this.
And so this 20-pound purse like flies over my head and splatters everywhere on the floor. Like stuff goes everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And then she picked it up and she threw it again, and then she picked it up and she threw it again, and we're having the fight of our lives. And then the fight ended when I asked her, "Well, why are we still together?"
And were you married at this time to her?
Yeah. We're married. Yeah.
So, at that time, you were married, and I want to. All right. So you asked that very poignant question.
Yeah, and fight's over. She goes upstairs to think through that the rest of the night, and it was my awakening, because I sat there, Drew, and all I could really see were just like literally dominoes fall.
Yeah.
And it's the first person I thought about was my ex-wife. I'm like, oh shit, like she never really had a chance. The king of self-sabotage here was going to blow that thing up. My kids hadn't seen me in months.
Uh-huh.
Where's dad's beginning to turn into who's dad.
Oh,
and the financial stress is impacting my wife physically. and I'm drinking a ton,
Oh,
and
jeez.
dude, it's a freaking mess.
Yeah, of course.
And then what I realized was the common theme to everything was me.
Okay. Okay.
And in that moment, I realized, dude, you got to change because your way is not working. And my way, Drew, was what it's called hopium, right?
Hopium. Okay.
I'm like hoping the outside world changes while I fiercely insist on remaining the same. And it didn't work. So in that moment, I just said, dude, you got to take 100% responsibility for the shit show that's your life,
Good for you.
and you need to change. And
Good for you.
so the next day, to my wife's immense credit, instead of focusing on the negative and bolting out the door, which
Yep.
she was totally justified in doing that, she actually made a list of the things that she loved about me and realized that's she didn't want to live without that. And
Hmm.
so in that moment, what I did, Drew, um, was, my relationship sabotaging pattern was we'd hit a bump in the road, I'd focus on the negative, and then I'd exit,
Okay.
because there's a utopian unicorn
Of
relationship out there
course.
that
Of course
requires
there
no
is.
work, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just sunshine, lollipops, and
Of course
roses
there is.
24/7.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to do that.
Mm.
But by her not doing that, it got me to focus. And so we came together, and
Mm. Yeah.
um, she said, we're not getting divorced, we're not declaring bankruptcy, we're not getting jobs. So we had some things going for us. We had access to wealthy mentors. She's like, I'm gonna interview these wealthy people who had wealth in all areas of their life, not just money.
Right.
I'm gonna figure out what they do and what they think. So our first book, Couples Money, came from that. And then she was like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm gonna figure out how my mindset keeps creating broke.
Okay.
And I'm not interested in changing, I'm committed. And she was like, what does that mean? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know how an Olympic athlete's committed to their sport? They're not interested, they're
Mm-hmm.
committed. I'm
Right.
like, that's what I'm going to do with my personal growth and development. So I am all in on changing, and I'm going to work on it every single freaking day. And it didn't happen overnight, but it happened over time. And Drew, we experienced a jaw dropping financial transformation. I mean, we just went to just all new, highs. And
Mm-hmm.
for me personally,
Right.
in all areas of my life, I had a significant personal transformation.
All right. So there's a lot to unpack here. One thing I'm really intrigued about is the list of things that your wife liked about you. When you read that list, did you like that stuff about you?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I just, yeah, for sure. I mean, I saw it. I obviously had forgotten about it because I
Right.
was in, you know, beat up mode,
Sure.
right?
Absolutely.
Guilt mode.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, no, that's for sure. I knew it was there. And then I worked with a coach for 4.5 years who, he said, Chris, you were always a diamond. We just needed to polish it.
Okay.
And
All
so
right.
he brought that stuff out of me. But no, but my confidence was obviously pretty low, right? Because guys don't
Right.
want to feel like they're not producing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I align with a lot of what you. I feel it. I can empathize. And so, when you were you able to look in the mirror at that time and tell yourself you loved you? Did you ever try that?
Um, yeah, no, I mean, 100% loving, approving, accepting of ourselves. I mean, that personal development all goes to that,
It
right?
does. It absolutely does.
And when we showed up as babies, we had no problems with that. But
Of
then
course. Yeah.
we got massively programmed over
Mm-hmm.
the years to be
Right.
less than. So no, I think the uncovering of the BS. I mean, it wasn't in that moment, but in my personal growth and development
Right.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
In my book, one of my favorite quotes is, "We're a miracle and a mess at the same time."
Yes, I love that
And
quote.
me accepting all sides of it, not being perfect, because that's a form of self-sabotage. Yeah, I mean, I eventually got there. I wasn't there in the moment,
Right in the moment. Right.
but I definitely built to it. I knew I had to get back there.
Absolutely. What intrigues me about all of this is, and I'm learning as I go through my own journey, is that the child, the young Chris, the young Drew, it's still in us. And
Absolutely.
like you said, we have self-sabotage by saying, oh, wait, the calendar says that we're 50 some odd years old. We have to be an adult. You shut up now, child. We now have to realize, hey, child, you know a damn well more than I know. And I'm going to start listening to you. And our inner child, Chris, has no boundaries, no limits. The opportunities are endless. And it's just astonishing to me that we had been brainwashed and learned to shut that kid up. And that's a myth. We've got to let that kid talk. And so thank you for shedding light on that Chris. So the next step when your wife and you, what a powerful couple, decided to do what you did, tell me what happened next.
I mean, we had to get it, or I had to get into what's called objective reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one skill of a world-class thinker is the capacity to objectively look at your results
Mm-hmm.
and not get emotional about them.
Okay.
And so she had to lay out the bloody balance sheet, the bloody budget,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of beating myself up and
Mm-hmm.
getting into guilt, and one of my big messages is, what you resist persists.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get into acceptance for what was happening.
Okay.
And I didn't really understand acceptance until my coach said, you don't need to love it, buddy, but you need to stop hating it.
What great advice.
and
Absolutely.
and it's just like when we have a flat tire, it's like we'll go through mental gymnastics to deny that we even have one, right? And then
Yep. Yep.
the flat tires there going, dude, how long is it going to take for you to like accept
Mm-hmm.
that we have a flat tire? So the acceptance was,
Mm-hmm.
looking at it,
Yeah.
and then her and I setting what I call a unifying goal. We
Right.
had a unifying financial goal that we set,
Right.
and we talked for about an hour of why that was important.
Mm-hmm.
And then from acceptance, point A, to what we want,
Mm-hmm.
point B, the rest of the time, brother, was all about what do we want? What's the next thing we need to do?
Right. Yeah. You
And
set your own
that,
roadmap, and you
yeah, that
and you
was it.
had all the steps within that you did not veer off of those steps because you knew those steps were going to get you to where you needed to go.
Well, we had the next step,
Okay.
and we didn't. I mean, because everyone tries to get all the
They
steps,
do. Right.
and that's what jacks them up. And so
Right.
a sailboat captain chooses the first waypoint of a long journey, pulls up anchor, leaves the dock, and then adjusts the sails.
Got it.
So that was what my wife and I did. We left the dock, pulled up anchor. What's the next thing we need to do? Clarity only comes from forward movement.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Well, I love that you hit on so many good points. You know that healing comes from within, and you learned that, and I give you so much credit for that, and the clarity piece. You're absolutely right. So, what are you doing now to kind of teach others or share with others that they can do the same thing that you've done?
Yeah, spent the last 16 months writing my book, Think and Grow You, and that came out February 28th. And
Congratulations.
yeah, no, it's unbelievable, and it's a great, the problem I solve is stuck, and
Yep.
people are more stuck than ever, I feel, and
Absolutely.
I share my dirty laundry on that, and give people the steps to get unstuck. So excited about that, excited about speaking, excited about the workshop that I'm shooting, and podcasts, and talking to rock stars like you. So just I want to get the message out to tens of millions of people. That's what I want to do, and impact is the word that drives me.
Wonderful. Well, tell us more about some of the whatever you want to elaborate on all those things you talked about. We'd love to hear more.
Yeah. I mean, the book, you can get it, chrisfelton.me, and the book is written in such a way that keynote speaking and workshops is going to be my main mode of operation, and
Hmm.
it's written in a way that literally people can scan the table of contents and go, Chris, I want you to come in and talk to our group on these 4 or 5, or There's unlimited combination of keynote talks, and there's an unlimited combination of workshops too, half day, full day. They can literally pick the topics, and it's custom made to speak to people. So yeah, man, just
When are
jacked
you
up
doing the
about it.
workshop? When are you expecting that to be ready to go?
Workshop. I'm shooting May 20th, and then
Okay.
it's online. I call it online course. So the Think and Grow
Okay.
You online course, the deep dive. Shooting it May 20th. I'll have it available on the website in the store early June. So
All right. Well,
excited
let me
about it.
know when you're promoting that because I'll help you out on that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I could
Thanks,
talk
man.
to you forever. I got a couple questions I want to ask you before
Sure.
you give the exact ways on how people can reach you. So Chris, you're sitting down with 7 to 10 year old Chris, and you want to give him some advice on life. What are you going to tell him?
It's going to be okay.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
So that just hit me. I got a visceral reaction from it's going to be okay, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah. Well, how much time do we waste worrying if it is or not?
You're right. You're
And
right.
trusting is what unlocks the blessings.
I love it. Trusting is what unlocks the blessings.
Yep.
All right. So I'm asking you to put on a different hat, and you're sitting with young Chris, the businessman, young entrepreneur, ready to take that first step. What kind of business advice are you going to give him?
Relax.
Relax. It's going to be okay, and relax.
Chill the F out.
Chill the
Yeah.
F out.
Yeah,
I
no,
love it.
and where that comes from, I'm a huge Bob Proctor fan, and
Yes. Yep.
I was in a week-long seminar where my mind just got blown. Like my vision was just stretched, and
Wow.
and when that happens, you're like, you go into how am I going to do it?
Absolutely. Yep.
And Mike Dooley calls it the cursed who's and the cursed hows,
The who and how.
and it overwhelms you. You're trying to
Yeah.
scale the mountain one step,
Right.
eat the
Right. Right.
elephant one bite, all that crap. And Proctor got up there, and he was like 80. I think he was
He's
82
amazing.
at
He
the
was
time.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to tee it up for the next 10 years. It's going to be unbelievable. And I'm just like
Yeah.
stressed out, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
like thinking about all the stuff I got to do. I'm
Yep.
projecting in the future. He
Right.
said, but I'm going to do it in a calm, relaxed manner. Calm urgency, dude. And I just felt the stress
Just fall off of you.
leave my body. And then Dooley was like, pick the least suckiest path and take action and kick ass with what's in front of you. Like those guys combined with those messages. I'm
Oh
like,
my goodness.
chill out, relax, right? Just win the day, kick ass with what's in front of you. There's no happy ending to an unhappy journey, and all that stuff just
I love
transformed me.
that. I
Yeah,
mean,
transformed me.
well, yeah, and between the two of them and Napoleon Hill, because the title of your book, it's I understand desire and faith and all that. What a message! And we got to get, and like you said, you got to get I want you to get your message out, Chris, to as many people as possible, because the multitude of us do not know and are not aware that we control our mind.
Yeah,
We're in control of what we think, and we give that credit to too many other people outside our circumstances. So,
for sure.
I know that I've started to get to know the essence of Chris Felton, and I know I want to get more of you, and I know the audience is thinking the same thing right now. So, how do we reach you? What do you want us to know about you? And we want to know right now.
Yeah, just my website, chrisfelton.me. You guys can connect with me there. You can send me an email there.
Mhm.
I'm just all about, I just want to serve, man. That's the deal I want to give. And I think I have a unique message and a point of view and an authentic way to get out there. And I'm just I've been on this writing journey, this speaking journey
Mhm.
outside of what I've done for the last 24 years as an entrepreneur. For the last 16 months,
Right.
I've never lost enthusiasm once. God put this on my heart, and I know it's going to greatly impact a lot of people. So anyone that is interested in that, just reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation and see what I can do to add value.
Absolutely. And you are the real deal. Sincerity and authenticity, you exude that, Chris. And I thank you for being in my life. And I'm grateful that we're in the same community trying to help people and not trying, you're doing and I'm doing.
Yeah.
And people are going to come on board and we're going to one person at a time. So
Yeah.
thanks
Sure,
so
brother.
much, Chris. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on, my
Appreciate
friend.
you, buddy. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.